Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
I drink and I know things.
Welcome to the first of 5 episodes of my Spring TV Sweeps Week. Basically, for the next couple of days, you are going to be getting videos of my thoughts on the current shows that I am watching this season. Now, we've already talked about a lot of the shows that have run from fall to spring, but of course, starting in January up until this point, there are a couple of shows that did start their newer seasons that I just wasn't able to talk about in the past episodes. So, of course, we're going to start today with the premium channel shows, and I'm going to be talking about 4 shows that I watched on HBO and Showtime. So the first one that we're going to start off with is Season 6 of Shameless. What can I say? If you haven't started watching Shameless, you are completely in the dark and you have no idea about this amazing show starring William H. Macy and Emmy Rossum is. This season was another very, very dark season with, of course, a lot of comedic charm, but it definitely was a very good one in terms of true character development. We saw a lot of very interesting things happen to the Gallagher family, and a lot of funny things ensued as well. But one of the few things that I will say that was really great about the season was how powerful some of these events were. Lip was trying to come up with some very important decisions with his life, and at the very end we saw something very interesting happen to him. Ian going through a very interesting turning point in life in terms of relationships and his job, and Debbie even went and understood the joys of motherhood. But I think probably the biggest thing that happened in this season was the whole thing that involved Fiona, and of course at the end, Frank Gallagher, of course. And I don't want to give anything away, but I will say that when you get to the very last episode of this season, you are definitely going to be excited to see what's to come in the next season. And I was really impressed because of the fact that I really wasn't so interested in the last season. This newer season, definitely better, and I'm very excited for Season 7. But now let's move on to HBO, and let's talk about Season 6 of the show that basically stops time in this world, and that, of course, is Season 6 of Game of Thrones. It's in the middle right now, and I was not really big on the 5th season, even though I did enjoy it, especially when it came to the story of what was going on with King's Landing, as well as the whole thing that was going on with Meereen with Daenerys Targaryen. But now we are only 5 episodes in, and it has definitely been one roller coaster ride. We have seen a lot of interesting things in regards to Theon Greyjoy, and of course, Sansa Stark and Jon Snow. And where we left off is probably one of the more heartfelt moments in the series, but we all know what that is. I mean, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, here's the best way to describe it. Once upon a time, everybody died, the end. But, of course, it doesn't prevent you from watching another great episode one after the other after the other. And I'm really excited to see where the new season of Game of Thrones unfolds, especially because of the fact that we recently found out that the show has been announced that it is going to come to an end relatively soon. We just don't know how many seasons are left. But Season 6, definitely off to a great start. I highly suggest that you watch it. And now we move on to another HBO show, which is the 3rd season of Silicon Valley. Of course, that is the Mike Judge comedy. And this one is even funnier. We now have gotten to the point where they are starting up a company, and Richard has been fired as CEO. And now it's all a matter of intuition and innovation meets big corporation and business. We've only got a couple of episodes, but it definitely has been good so far. Laugh aloud, lots of fun to be had. These characters are just so great. They have amazing chemistry with one another, and I am really looking forward to seeing how this show ends its 3rd season. But now we're going to move on to one other show, and that is the brand new show that was created by Martin Scorsese and Mick Jagger, and that is Vinyl, starring Bobby Cannavale and Ray Romano. Now, I was very interested in this show because it was supposed to be something that takes place in the 1970s and involves the music industry. However, the 2-hour season premiere, I just couldn't get into it. I thought that it dragged, I didn't care much for the characters, and I really didn't seem to understand where this show was going. Now, granted, it had some really great moments in there, especially if you're a music fan, including Led Zeppelin making an appearance, not the real one, but an actor portraying Robert Plant. But it reminded me a little bit of Entourage at first, and Ballers, because instead of the sports industry or the movie industry, we have the music industry, especially in a time when music is taking some very innovative turns in different directions. I just didn't really appreciate the show, and after the pilot I kind of didn't watch it. But if you are actually watching Vinyl, I'd like to know if the first season was something that you did enjoy, because apparently it will be renewed for a second season, but I just couldn't get into it. But for now, that is where I leave you. 4 shows, 1 that I really didn't care about, but 3 that I really enjoyed watching for their brand new respective seasons. And I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about another couple of shows tomorrow in my Spring TV Sweeps Week, and actions speak louder than words.